Today's video is actually going to be about a story. And in this story, it's going to show how God really does listen to you and what you ask for as long as it comes from your heart and it is sincere. So, I have a dog. Well, had a dog. And his name was Shadow. Many people who know me know Shadow. Shadow was an amazing dog, and he'd been in my life since I was in the second grade. And I had him for 15 years. One thing that I had always asked God for was, before Shadow passes away, can you please let me see him? I did not want to be in college because I'm from San Diego, but I was in college in Nashville at the time. I did not want to be in Nashville and get a phone call that said, Shadow is gone. And I never was able to see him since I've been gone for so long. So that was the request that I asked over and over and over again, right? So my senior year, 2009, I get a call from my mom, and it's the last semester, and she tells me that Shadow is actually very, very sick, and he does not have very many days left to live. And so I began to write. I wrote a letter, and in this letter, I talked about how much I loved Shadow and how, I really wanted him to come to my graduation, and whatever the outcome of his sickness was, that, I love you, and I thank God for allowing you to be in my life, right? So, long and behold, Shadow did not pass away. He, day by day, he was still living, and he actually did come to my graduation. So my dad flew him to Nashville, and my mom, but before he got on the plane, my dad was like, Shadow is really, really sick. He's barely walking. He's having a hard time just moving around. I really don't think we should put him on the flight. And my mom was like, no, put Shadow on the flight. So we put Shadow on the flight. Shadow boy, he comes to Nashville. He comes to my graduation. They even let him into the dinner place, the restaurant that I had my graduation party at. Shadow was able to attend that too, right? So, and the crazy part is, once Shadow got to Nashville, he was like a whole new dog. He was moving around. He was super energized. Like, he was like back to his normal self. So he, my mom and dad take him back to San Diego. He was all good. I mean, he was back to normal. Well, Labor Day week, the week of Labor Day, I get a phone call from my doctor saying that, we need to have you in San Diego. We finally got a surgeon to be able to do your surgery. Can you come and have surgery on Friday? Well, this was like Monday, and I think Labor Day was that following Monday. So I remember on the phone with the doctor, and I'm just like, I really no, that's too soon. I'm not going to be, the tickets are going to be too high. I'm not going to be able to make that flight. It's going to be too much. But then I was like, wait, hold on. I was like, let me check the flights really quickly, and then I'll call you back. So I get on my computer, check the flights, and to my surprise, the ticket was only about $200, which was unheard of. Last minute flight. I was leaving in 4 days to San Diego, Labor Day weekend. My ticket was very inexpensive. So I get to San Diego. I go to the doctors. They end up telling me, hey, everything is all good. We don't need to do surgery. You're going to be fine. So I was like, okay, great. Well, it's Labor Day weekend. So I'm glad I made it to San Diego for Labor Day weekend. And on that Labor Day, we had the biggest barbecue ever. We rented the jet skis. We had the motorboats. We had the barbecue going. And Shadow was there. My whole family, friends was there. And see, Shadow never got in the water. He never liked getting in the boats or anything like that. But this particular day, he got on the boat and just was extremely happy and excited to be on the boat. And my dad describes it like Titanic, like when Jack and Rose was at the top of the boat and they were just like looking around and everything. He said that Shadow's eyes were just like so excited and observing everything around him, and it just was a moment that no one had ever seen before because Shadow never got on the boat or in water. Well, the next day, I was leaving back to Nashville. Now, every time I go back to Nashville, we would always have a seafood picnic. So we would get our seafood, go to Shelter Island and overlook the bay with me, my mom, and Shadow, and we would eat and talk, and then my mom would drop me off at the airport. Well, this particular time on the way to the airport, I all of a sudden got this feeling that came all over my body. And as I was getting out of the car, I just remember telling Shadow, I'm like, Shadow boy, your mommy loves you so much, I just expressing like all my love to my dog. Now, we do this routine all the time. And this particular time, I was just like showing him so much love. So I get my bags, I get out the car, I'm at the terminal, bag check out on the outside, and my mom starts driving away, and Shadow's head is like hanging out the side window. And I was like, Mom, come back. So she stops and she's like, what, did you leave something? And I said, no. I was like, I just really want to tell Shadow how much I love him. So I retold him how much I love him, and I was like, give your mommy kisses. And then he like licked me on my cheek, and then my mom drove away, and his head was hanging out the side window, and they went off. Well, the next day, I had car problems in the Walmart parking lot on Charlotte Avenue, and I called my dad, and I'm like, to tell him, my car broke down, but when I called him, he sounded like really sad. So I was like, Dad, I said, what's wrong? And he was like, your mom didn't tell you. And I was like, what? And he was like, Shadow passed away last night, and his favorite place in the backyard. And I was like, no. Like, I just broke down and cried. And then for whatever reason, like, everybody was in the area, like my brother, all my friends, like they all came to console me in Walmart parking lot. And I'm just like, how did y'all even know that I was here? And I remember that night, I couldn't sleep. I tossed and I turned, and that's when it dawned on me. And I was like, you know what? That is so crazy, because the only thing that I have ever, like, over and over and over and over asked for was, God, before my dog goes to heaven, please let me see him and spend time with him. And when I tell you he made that happen, he made that happen. So this story was just to tell you that God does hear your requests. He hears your prayers. He knows what's in your heart, and he will lead and guide, and he will make things happen. Sure will. I hope you all have an amazing, awesome day, and stay blessed.